There are always barriers to participating in clinical trials, and it's important to have the conversation with your patient if they are hesitant about participating in a trial. What are their reasons? Sometimes the barriers are invisible and they're not necessarily things you would think of. So it's not necessarily I don't want to be the guinea pig in the clinical trial. It's much more of if it takes 6 hours to infuse, who's going to watch my children? Or how am I going to get back and forth to the appointments? Overcoming those barriers is very difficult, and I invite all of the support team or the family members that patient needs to help them through this thought process. I introduce the concept of clinical trials early on. Not a specific trial, not specific to their disease or their stage, but just the concept of clinical trials, so they can let that digest and kind of think through what their feelings are about clinical trials. And then on their follow-up visit, as we're really hammering out the details of treatment intervention, introducing specific trials that I think the patient would be eligible for. So the patient doesn't feel overwhelmed by the information. I've given them time in kind of a stair or a graduated approach. For many patients, when trying to I think relieve some of their concerns about participating in clinical trials, you really need to start with the foundation and making sure they understand their disease, their stage, the expected disease process, prognosis, all of those variables that provide a sense of stress to the patient, because the clinical trial is designed to relieve the stress, not to create more stress in their thought process. So clinical trials, most of the times their outcomes are designed to address recurrence or progression, improving overall survival and or quality of life. And I think once patients understand that they are real and measurable outcomes, promoting positive outcomes, that does relieve some of their concerns, and they're more open to hearing about the details of the trial. All of us perceive our patients to be partners in the clinical trial, and we are eternally grateful that they do participate in them. Without them, none of this could be done. And certainly the team is comprised of the physician, the patient, the research nurse, who is an integral part of this, the chemotherapy nurse, the person who's actually administering the drugs, even the lab technicians. You know, everybody is all in on this approach. And it's nice that the patient has that village and understands that their village is part of their advocacy team. It's not just their family, we all care. I think clinical trials do bring hope to most patients, especially when they understand the trial design, the intent and goal of the trial.